Welcome back to What's New in Apple Arcade in the month of August. And this month is a really interesting one. Not only do we have 4 interesting titles of all different genres, but also the crossover between July's last game and the release of the first one in August, to me, was pretty close, but I guess you can't really control the months, even if you're Apple. And I do apologise, this video is slightly delayed. It's a week later than I'd want it to be, but the last week and a half I lost my voice completely. I sounded completely different, and I thought it'd be useless if I tried to do a video. So that's why it's a little bit more delayed, but as you'll find out later on in the video, I'm kind of glad that I had an extra week to play one of the games. I'd like to throw a quick warning: the first game will have some flashing images, and obviously I don't want anyone who's sensitive to flashing images or anyone who's watching a video in the dark to feel any pain from this video. So I'm going to start it from the top and just go straight into the game. So from the top. The first title to drop on Apple Arcade is called Amazing Bomberman, and it's available on all the Apple devices. Now, I just had to check my notes back to make sure I'm saying the name right, because when I said it for the first time then I really struggled. It was quite a tongue twister. But Amazing Bomberman is an online music experience. From first opinion, it's very much like a Pac-Man style game meets a rhythm beater. It's an online game that you can play with your friends as well, and you go through levels, and you've also got original soundtrack and some other music in here to keep you going as you play along. And I know a lot of the songs have been written specifically for this game. From what I'd say genre-wise, the description of the game on the actual store page is very minimum. I would say it's a bit of a mixture of maybe Japanese pop or Korean pop with a bit of nightcore. It's very high-pitchy, very like beat central. So Amazing Bomberman is available on all Apple devices and was the first one to be released in August, and it's definitely a game you should try. Again, I mentioned a lot that you have this subscription, so you may as well give it a whirl. The next game to land on Apple Arcade is an iPhone and iPad game, and this one will keep you very entertained. It's called My Talking Tom. It's a virtual pet. Sadly, I'm old enough to know what a Tamagotchi is, and it's basically a modern version of that for your iPhone and iPad. Weirdly, I think this game is quite popular. This is the Plus title version, so it has been released on the App Store before, but I've not downloaded this, but as soon as I saw that on the months page, I recognised that grey cat from anywhere. Now, I'm glad I played this experience before making the video, because I really wouldn't know what to say from the information that the page gave, and that's what I said in my intro. I'm kind of glad it's delayed because I can actually talk about this experience better. Now, it's a simulation game that's very happy, it's very cheerful, it's got a good vibe to it, and there's a ton of customization. As soon as you boot the game up, it asks you what you want to call the cat. You don't have to call it Tom. I've called it Dave because I feel like you can always trust a Dave. Now, what you can do with your cat is tons of mini games. You can do customization, and there's also like a sim sort of element to it where you have to make sure the cat's needs are met, whether that bathing it, showering it, sending it to the toilet, or even turning the light off for it to go to bed. It is an interesting title. I'm not going to slam for it because it may be not a bit of me, but it's definitely worth a go. There's a ton of mini games on here that allow you to earn coins that unlock more cosmetic items for your new friend, and it feels like it's aimed at kids, but in the 30 minutes that I was playing it, I was trying to outbeat the high scores, so don't completely roll it out. And if you're an Apple Arcade subscriber, it costs you nothing to try the game. This is only available on iPhone and iPad, but it's an experience I didn't think I'd be talking about today, but I am. I'm now back to the classic side-scroller games. The next game I'm going to talk about is Pack Joyride 2. I'm really not sure what's with these tongue twister names in this episode, but this is a game available on all Apple devices, and surprisingly this is a highly anticipated sequel from the iconic game Pack Joyride. However, this isn't available on Apple Arcade, but it's not unusual for them to release the most modern title and then come back to release the original title. You can actually see this with Alto's Adventure. That game really threw me off with the fact that I thought I was playing the most recent one, but I ended up playing the original. Those are available on Apple Arcade, and I've covered those on the channel. Now, this title, you will team up with Barry and Betty, who will make their way through laboratories to stop science experiments before it's too late. There's loads of awesome weapon mechanics and vehicles for you to play through the story with. The gameplay is what I would say is a bit like if Flappy Bird had weapons. You're going from left to right and you're defeating enemies as you go through, and there's obviously a big element of challenge. This has controller support, so this will help you get through the levels if that's collecting coins, fighting enemies, or even competing in the boss battles. This game has everything, and it's a very exciting adventure. And this Pack Joyride is available on the 19th of August on all Apple devices. And the final game to come to Apple Arcade in August is called Love You to Bits, and this is a title available on iPhone and iPad, and it's a solo puzzle game about a love story between a clumsy space explorer and his lovely robot girlfriend. And unfortunately, Nova the robot has a fatal accident, and it's now up to you, playing as Cosmos, to go scour the universe collecting all the parts to rebuild his robot girlfriend. You will play through a load of levels that are full of aliens, hidden objects, and tricky puzzles to challenge you along the way. It's nice to see a combination of a puzzle game with a gripping love story between a spaceman and a robot. It's definitely an original one. I've never heard of it before. And this is a sort of game, when you look at it from the trailer, I expect to have been on Steam, so if it's that sort of vibe and you're into small, like indie title games that have a lot of passion towards their story, this is definitely one to download. This game has some really good set design and colours. It really does tell a story of out of space, and a lot of the levels are very flat, but there are even some ones there thrown in that are almost like a small planet, and to be on like a wide screen with that coming into it really shows that there's a lot thought about how different level design can be done on this game. And this is a Plus title, by the way, so I did check out the original App Store page, and it has a rating of 4.9. That's pretty much the best score I think you can get, because if someone gives you a bad review, you're already down from 5. So Love You to Bits is the final Apple Arcade title, dropping on the 26th of August for iPhone and iPad. This is definitely the one I'm most looking forward to, but I'm expected, whenever I say that, to be blown out by a different game. There's always one that's an underdog. So let us know in the comment section below what you think of the titles. That's all we've got today. 4 titles for 4 weeks of August. I think it's a really nice one. And just like I've said in most of my videos, it's very common now that we have a new Apple title every Friday. I like the consistency, so thank you very much, Apple. This video has been very interesting. I've gone off the cuff. I've got my lovely script in front of me, but the amount of times that I've just gone off and waffled, just because, to be honest, these games are difficult to write about. The descriptions this week were awful. They literally had nothing to go off. So I hope you've enjoyed today's episode, is basically what I'm saying. And do consider subscribing. I've had a 2-week off period, but we'll now be uploading more consistent uploads of Apple Arcade titles, iOS games, and anything, Apple. And we also have a podcast, which, again, is coming out very soon. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video.